All right, welcome back to the Vault Report. I'm here with Xavier men's basketball head coach Sean Miller. How we doing? I know it's a busy time, but now I know you guys are in off-season workouts. The joy of just kind of being back in the gym must feel good.
Yeah, no, Nathan, first of all, thanks for having me on. It is good to be back in the gym. In particular, I think that when you go from the end of a season now to the beginning of the next year, sometimes you experience a lot of change in your roster. And so when you have that first opportunity to get with a new group, which a lot of times has a lot of new guys, that's our case, it's very, very exciting.
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, those who follow not just college basketball, your program as well, a lot of turnover. It's a part of the game. For you, in terms of getting to kind of some of the roster and health, but just in terms of reflection, there's not much time now. And often you are dealing with a lot of roster. How do you deal with kind of, reflecting on that last season, things you can take from it, but also knowing you are starting with a pretty new group of guys?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of pride in what we did a year ago. Obviously, when you finish the season with the record that we had and you're on the outside looking in of the tournament, none of that is what we're after. However, I think the real storyline for us a year ago is we were dealt with some really difficult circumstances right about now in the middle of the summer, or about a month from now when it came to Zach Freemantle. And when we lost both Zach and Jerome a year ago, we in some cases did the best that we could to survive. And when you do that, you learn a lot about yourself. I thought Quincy Oliveri's individual season a year ago really stood out as one of the best offensive seasons in our program's history. 3-point percentage, 3-pointers made, scoring, and there were some other parts to what we did that we were really proud of as well. The emergence of Davion McKnight, coming from Western Kentucky as somewhat of a relative unknown in Big East circles. And, Davion, as the year went on, became one of the most consistent guards playing in the Big East Conference when you look at him. So those types of things, two freshmen, Trey Green and Dalen Swain, both were on the all freshman team and they returned back. So we have that. And then obviously we hit the portal, and we're really excited about our group that we established this spring.
Absolutely. And you have obviously for yourself, for Xavier, even at other stops you've made, obviously you have set that standard, which is a testament to you, which is kind of the NCAA tournament. But just on last season, how much of what you were able to do? I mean, I talked about it. I thought it was one, heck of a coaching job by you and your staff, given your circumstances. But to be able to go into the portal once again and show what you're able to do with guys coming in just a year's time, how important was that? And in terms of your pitch and recruiting guys to being part of, the Xavier program?
Yeah, I think number one in recruiting, a lot of people say things, and I think we all try to create an atmosphere where we're gonna make your dreams come true if you choose our program. But we also, all of us, we have a track record. What have you done? I think when you talk about, hey, look, we have a great opportunity for you. There's no better way of showing that opportunity than being able to say, I want to walk you through Sule Boom 2 years ago, who graduated from UTEP, came to us, was a first-team All-Big East performer, and finished second in scoring, played in the Sweet 16. Then we followed that up with Quincy Oliveri, a graduate from Rice University, who came in, and it translated into, him and Devin Carter leading the Big East in scoring, and Quincy going on to do some great things. Now, that's just a one-year example, but when you can show a track record that we've been able to do that with these guys, this is what they've been able to do when they came through our program and made that choice, we can do it with you as well. I believe that helps. It gives you a lot of evidence and credibility, to back up that we have a program and a style of play and a way of player development that we can bring out the best in you.
Absolutely. And, I'm not going to go through obviously the whole roster, hopefully we'll talk about that once the season gets closer. But I do want to talk with despite the turnover, like you said, you're bringing back freshmen. Obviously, you're bringing back, two guys in Freemantle, in Hunter. I'll start with them in terms of their health. How are they progressing? I know they're at different tracks, but what you've seen from them and And then also, talking about the other, I believe you guys are returning 5 guys, but you talked a little bit about it, McKnight as well, a guy that's going to have a good impact, big impact this season.
Yeah, so it's deceiving with us. Obviously, we have those guys coming back. Two of the guys we talked about, Jerome and Zach, did not play a year ago, and now they return. So I'll start with Zach Fremantle. He's fully cleared. He's practicing every day. I don't think he's ever been more healthy, and hopefully, knock on wood, that he's able to finish his final year here at Xavier from start to finish. Zach has shown tremendous loyalty to our program. He has stuck with us. We have stuck with him. He has fought through obstacles and adversity the last couple years in terms of injuries. But Nate, when he's performed at a very, very high level. He's now a college graduate. He's in graduate classes. He's older. He's wiser. The most mature that he's been, I think, both on and off the court. And I believe he's poised for a very, very good year. You forget Zach, 6'9", can play both front court positions. And the one thing that he's done over the last year and a half, because he's really not been able to do a lot of other things, is he's worked a lot on his skill, his shot. And I think you'll see that he's increased his proficiency from the 3-point line. And that will, what I believe, is expand an already very versatile offensive game. Jerome suffered a second setback this past year when he was practicing with us, in that he tore his Achilles, believe it or not. And that happened in early February. So, if you do the math on that, he's about 4.5 months out since then. He's right where he should be in terms of making a full recovery. But although he's progressing and able to do certain things non-contact right now, we're really taking it slow, making sure that we're building, his body up, not allowing him to rush back. And then we expect him to be cleared for contact at some point early this fall. And that doesn't mean that he's going to go from 0 to 100. If you came to our practice in August, you would be able to see him do certain things out there, but he won't be fully cleared until the fall. But, we expect both of them to be with us this year, and everybody's excited. I think our fans are really excited. Certainly our coaching staff and their teammates are, to welcome them back.
Absolutely. And before, just as I talk about the transfer class as a whole, I do believe, we forget sometimes, freshmen do exist. Like you had mentioned, in terms of you had 2 impact freshmen. Oftentimes you can see a big leap going into that sophomore year. A lot of development that goes on, may not show in the games, obviously that first year, but obviously a second off season. Trey Green, Swain, 2 guys. What are you guys envisioning as a staff? Where do you see them continuing to develop as they head into, again, their sophomore season?
Well, I think the greatest gift that we were able to give both Trey and Dalen a year ago is just opportunity. They played in virtually every game of the season when they were healthy, and they gained valuable experience. I mean, we threw them into the fire. They had great moments. When I think of Trey Green, our game at Providence, when he was the best player in the game. It was a road game, very difficult environment. He went in there as a freshman and left the game with 20+ points, broke the game open in the second half. And, he's as good of a shooter as I have coached during my time. And now with the experience, a year to get bigger and stronger, smarter on the court, I think just more clever and sure of himself all the way around. We've already seen a jump from where he was to where he is here early this summer. I would say the same thing about Dalen Swain. Dalen is younger than Trey. Believe it or not, last year, Dalen played as a true 18-year-old. He might have been the youngest player in the Big East. So Dalen turns 19 years old in July. So he's still 18. He's grown an inch since he's come here. A year ago, believe it or not, he weighed in at right around 180 pounds. Yesterday, he was 216 pounds. So, just growing from a young person to an adult, that's part of, I think, his development as a player. But, Dalen has worked hard on his shooting. Again, a lot like Trey. He had some great signature moments for us a year ago. And I think the experience of being out there as freshmen, returning back, same coaching staff, same Big East conference, and I think they're just more well-rounded. we look for both of those guys to be better and make an overall jump.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, looking forward to their development. And then, just two more questions. Your transfer class. I mean, we talked a little bit about it in the beginning, and you've had that track record, especially in the last couple of years. You're bringing in, I believe, three guys who've averaged double figures. Just talk about what your focus was, knowing what was left for you guys, and how you attacked the portal, and some of the guys specifically, that again, you now have this another offseason to kind of get them back with the players that played, and also the injuries of Hunter and Fremantle as well.
Yeah, when I became the coach here in March 2022, which is a short time ago, if you think about the timing of that, it almost coincided with this new way in college basketball. Two-time transfers, eligible immediately transfers, and then the NIL part of it as well. So, in some ways, I think all of us are flying an airplane and building it at the same time. There are certain decisions that I would have done differently 2 years ago when I first got here. If I would have known that the industry would change upside down the way it has in 24 months, you just didn't know what you didn't know back then. But, I think all of us embracing change, seeing things for what they truly are. For us, it's about building our program through individual rosters, and what might happen in one year may be different from another year based on who returns, what just happened. This past year, we just needed to get more experienced, deeper as guys were leaving our program. We wanted to make sure that just in terms of competing in this great conference we're in, that we had enough depth, talent, but certainly experience. And, experience doesn't have to come in forms of you have to be in your fourth or fifth year. Experience could come back to, Trey Green and Dalen Swain taking the court as sophomores instead of freshmen.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to get older. We wanted to get deeper. We certainly wanted to become more talented and versatile. And I believe that we were able to do a lot of that in April. We like our group a lot, not just because of I think who they are as basketball players, but where they come from. They're coming from winning programs. They've played in conferences like the ACC and the Big 12. A lot of our guys have played for some very well-established college coaches. So they come to us with different experiences. And I think those are the experiences that will really help us this season.
Absolutely. And just last question, how the non-conference is coming, kind of coming along, but more importantly, in terms of your viewpoint, and you can give me a quick minute answer, which is impossible to do when we talk about scheduling and metrics, but specifically with scheduling, beyond just, what the non-conference looks like, but just as a staff, have you started to have those conversations about how you treat end of games with the importance of metrics and offensive efficiency? Has that changed? Even a lot has changed, but even just the way, how a 9-point win compared to a 17-point win, how that changes, scheduling, and also, how you manage end of games.
Yeah, at our Big East meetings and just generally speaking this offseason, I think all of us, not just myself, but a lot of the Big East coaches, really tried to gather as much analytics and data as we could to kind of go back in time and say, we got three teams in the NCAA tournament. I still feel very badly for Shaheen Holloway and Seton Hall. To me, they were the most deserving team to make the turn that didn't make the tournament. I mean, and they proved it with what they did in the NIT as well. To beat UConn, that was no small order, and they did that. They just, I don't know, resume, let's not even call it that. It's just what they did, what they accomplished, who they were from start to finish last season. I think if they would have made the NCAA tournament, they were way more capable of advancing than not. So why did that happen? And, I think some of it was things happened on that Saturday, the day before Selection Sunday, that were unprecedented. All of these upsets throughout the country that took away more bids this year than maybe multiple years combined. I think that's a fact. And that hurt our league, hurt a team like Seton Hall. But we all asked the question, is a 30-point win better than a 20-point win? Are we at the point now where, if you have a 10-point lead in a November game, do you look at, that's not enough and try to extend that lead in the last couple of minutes? And I think the feedback came to us that it's like negligible. Like, in other words, does it help as 1%? Maybe, maybe not. But it's more about who you beat, where you beat them at, and the strength of your schedule. I think those are the things that carry the most weight. And so that's how we're operating. One thing that I will say, we play in a league where it's round robin. That will really be different this coming year because of the new conferences. There'll be a lot of conferences where not everybody is playing each other. Or, for example, one team won't play another team on the road. In the Big East, 10 at home, 10 on the road. And then we all play a 21st game in Madison Square Garden. For example, in our 21st game this past year was Butler. Butler was a very good team. We were fortunate enough to advance, and we played UConn. So in a sense, when we got to game 22 of the Big East, we played, America's number one seed 3 times.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of great opportunities in our league. You just have to be consistent and have to be ready, because I think we all coach and love the Big East. I know this, I think it's America's best, and
Yeah.
it's only going to get stronger moving forward because all of our decision making is about one sport, basketball.
Yeah. No, couldn't say better. As I feel like all conferences are losing identity, regionality is going. The Big East is the one conference that it still has even that romantic feeling. I feel like, of just it's it nothing beats it. I agree with you. But listen, coach, I appreciate the time as always. Love our conversations, and good luck this off season. Hopefully get some rest with the family as well. But we'll touch base as the season gets closer.
No, thank you for having me on. Always great talking with you. Thank you.